Hello, good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, whenever you are watching this. So today we're going to review combining like terms. We did do this in 6th grade, however, it is important to know about, so we need to refresh our memory about it for 7th grade. Plus, now that we know about combining positive and negative numbers, that is something important to know about for this. So let's go ahead and get started with combining like terms. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and add today's date, 11/17/25, and let's look at our example and follow along with the steps to solve that example. So step 1 is, if there are any variables without a number in front, then write it with a 1 in front. Example, A would be 1A. So variables without a number, you want to put a 1 in front. So underline or highlight those key parts. And let's look back at our expression. So we have a 6 in front of that variable, 7 in front of that variable. This C has no number in front of the variable, so we're going to go ahead and put the 1. This A has a 2, B has no number, so we're going to put a 1. C has a 4, so we're good. All right, step 2. So step 1 is done. Step 2, it says use different shapes to identify like terms. Example, put a circle. I'm going to go ahead and circle that. Put a circle, all terms that have an A. Put a square around all variables with a B, etc. So let's go ahead and look at the terms that are the same. So if they have the same letter, the same variable, they are like terms. So we have A here. So let's go ahead and do what it said. So we're going to go ahead and circle those A's. I'm going to go ahead and pause. Go ahead and circle your A's. All right. Now I circled the negative with 6A because when I combine those like terms, I want to make sure I have the negative with it. And then I have 2A, and I also circled the plus sign with it. Okay, so let's go ahead and put a square or a box around everything with a B. All the variables with a B. Again, you want to put a box around the operation as well. So plus 7B. And then right here we have minus 1B. And then we have left with us is the C variables. So we're going to go ahead, let's put a triangle around those like terms. So now we can see that the different shapes are the different like terms. So all of our circles we want to have with each other, all of our squares we want to have with each other, all of our triangles we want to have with each other. All right, step 2 is done. Go ahead and check that off. All right, step 3. Step 3 says make sure to also include the sign plus or minus in front of the term. We did do that, so go ahead and check off step 3. And then it says after using shapes, rewrite the problem with the like terms next to each other. So let's go ahead and do that step. So all of the things that are circled, we want to write them next to each other. So a negative 6A and a positive 2A. So we want to write that next to each other. And then we have 7B. And we have negative 1B. And then we have negative 1C. And a negative 4C. Okay, so I went ahead and rewrote them next to each other. You could have them all in one row in an expression, but I'm just gonna keep them separate for now so I can combine them, and at the end I can write my expression with all of them together. Okay, so step 4 is done. Go ahead and check off step 4. Now step 5 is to simplify, combine, add, or subtract like terms now. So we're going to go ahead and combine those like terms. So we have 6A and 2A. It's a negative and a positive, so we're subtracting. 6 minus 2, which is 4. Bring in the variable, and the 6 was negative, and that's more, so it's going to be negative 4a. Right here we have 7b minus 1b. 7 minus 1 is 6. And then write that variable, b. Right here we have a negative 1 and minus 4. That's the same as adding two negatives. So we're going to add negative 1 plus a negative 4, which will give us a negative 5. And our variable is c. And then we want to go ahead and just write all of those variable terms, all of those answers together in one expression. So go ahead and put negative 4a plus 6b. Since it's positive, I'm just putting plus 6b minus 5c. Whatever sign it has, that will dictate what you write in front of it. So 4a was negative, so I put negative. 5c was negative, so I just put minus 5c. Okay, so this is your final answer, which step 6 says to circle final answer. So make sure you have that answer circled, and then go ahead and check off 5 and 6, and they are done. All right, let's head to page 2. Okay, we are on page 2, and we have simplifying each expression. So we're going to go through these expressions, and we are going to combine our like terms. Now, luckily for some of these expressions, there's not a lot of terms involved. Some of the terms, if they do not have like a similar term, a like term, something that's the same, either a number by itself or a number with the same variable, then you're just going to leave it as is. So let's look at number 1. We have a negative 6k and a 7k. Now these are the same because they both have k. So I'm just circling those two. So I have two that are both k. So I'm just going to go ahead and add up those amounts. 6 plus 7, negative 6 plus 7. That's the same as subtracting 7 minus 6, which is 1. And the variable was k. So your answer will be 1k or k. Both answers are correct because, remember, in front of a variable, the invisible number is 1. All right, let's go to number 2. Number 2, we have 12r minus 8 minus 12. Now I'm going to circle everything with an r for the variable, which is only the 12. And I'm going to go ahead and box my negative 8 and my negative 12. Those are both constants, so they are numbers without variables. So those I will combine. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and rewrite 12r. That's by itself. And I'm going to go ahead and rewrite negative 8 minus 12. Okay, a negative minus a number is the same as adding a negative plus a negative. So we're going to add 8 plus 12. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Our answer is 20 and negative 20. And then our last step is to just write those two numbers together in an expression. So 12r was our first term minus our terms that we combined, which was negative 8 and negative 12, which is a negative 20. So this is our final expression once we combine those terms. All right, let's go ahead and head to number 3. Which, if you start to get a hang of this on this page, you can go ahead and pause the video, try them out, and then check your answers as you go. But let's try number 3. Number 3, we have n. N is by itself. Remember, when it's a number, a variable without a number, you want to put a 1 in front of it. We have 1n, circle that. And we also have a 9n, circle the plus 9n. And then we have a negative 10 and a negative 3. So we're going to box those two. Now let's rewrite it to combine those like terms. So we have 1n plus 9n. And we have negative 10 minus 3. All right, let's go ahead and combine the variable terms with an n. So we have 1 plus 9. 1 plus 9 is 10. And the variable with that was n, so we have 10n. And a negative minus a number is the same as adding two negatives. So negative 10 and negative 3 will be negative 13. There is no variable with them, so they stay as is. And then let's just write that expression with both of those terms together. 10n minus 13. All right, so far so good. Go ahead and try number 4 and then check your answer. I forgot to mention, pause now, try number 4, come back and check your answer. All right, we had two terms with the variable of an x, so we're just combining them. So we have negative 4 and negative 10. That will equal to a negative 14. The variable being used is x, so it's negative 14x is our final answer. And always remember, if a number has no variable with it, don't just combine it. Like here, we don't combine this because that variable is representing some missing number. And remember, that missing number, since it's next to a number, it means it's going to multiply. If you have to multiply over here, can you multiply? Can you subtract before you multiply? No. So you don't want to combine those amounts until you're able to multiply it. You can only combine it if it has that same variable. So be careful, because that's sometimes people's mistake. All right, go ahead and try 5 and 6. Pause your screen and then come back and check your answers. All right, go ahead and check your answers. We have number 5 was negative 11r, and number 6 was 4x plus 11. If you're getting the hang of it, continue working. However, I'm actually going to pivot and we're going to go over to page 3. Just try some of the questions that have a little something else with it. So let's go over to page 3 and try some of those out. So on page 3, I want you to look at question number 21. Do you see question 21? All right, so question 21, we have a negative 4 plus 7 times, remember, a number next to parenthesis means times 1 minus 3m. Okay, so what we actually have to do before we can combine like terms here is we have to multiply, because the order of operations wants us to multiply before we add. So we're going to go ahead and multiply 7 times 1, that's inside the parentheses, minus 7 times 3m. Okay, when we multiply that outside number, we want to make sure we multiply everything inside. I like to draw arrows. So let's go ahead and multiply those amounts. 7 times 1, 7. 7 times 3, 21. And it has an m, so it's 21m. Okay, and then go ahead and bring down what was in front, which was the plus negative 4. All right, from here we can combine like terms. So we have negative 4 plus 7, and then we have the negative 21 by itself. Well, what's a negative 4 plus 7? That's the same as subtracting, which would be 3. 7 minus 4 is 3. And then 21m, negative 21m, has no like terms, so that would stay by itself. All right, let's try number 22. So we have negative 5n plus 3 times 6 plus 7n. All right, so we want to multiply before we go ahead and combine those like terms. So we have 3 times 6 plus 3 times 7n. I was trying to put m. 7n. Okay, so let's go ahead and multiply, and then we will combine in like terms. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 7 is 21. Bring your variable down. And then we had in front of what that was happening here with the distributive property, we have the negative 5n. All right. Now we can combine some like terms. So let's go ahead and circle what we notice is the same, but is alike. So we have negative 5n, we have a positive 20n, and then we have 18 by itself. Positive 18. All right, let's go ahead and combine. We have a negative 5n plus 21n. That's the same as saying 21 minus 5, which is 16n. And then our final answer, we want to put our combined like terms, our variables with the n, and the other term that had nothing else in common, which was, ooh, that was not 21, it was 18. So I have 16n plus 18. All right, go ahead and try question 23 and 24. Pause your video, come back and check your answers. All right, those two questions were a little tough, so hopefully you did okay. Now for 23, all you're doing there is having a negative, like it's an invisible 1 with that in front of that parentheses. So it's like just multiplying the negative with the inside terms, like a negative 1. So that means everything that's inside that parentheses just turns negative. Or if it's already negative, it turns positive. So that you want to rewrite it with negative 2n, bring that down, negative 9 plus 10n. So if that one was a little tricky for you, I'm sorry about that. Then you're going to go ahead and combine like terms, and you're going to get 8n minus 9. Okay, and then similar to number 24, that 5 is considered negative. So you're going to want to do negative 5 times 9n, which is a negative 45n, and then negative 5 times a negative 9, which negative times a negative is a positive. 5 times 9 is 45. And then you want to bring down that 10, and you want to combine the like terms. 10 and 45 are constants, so they're just regular numbers. You can add them, which will equal to 55, and then minus 45n is by itself. All right, if you haven't tried any extra questions, go ahead and try the other questions, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you the answer key so you can check what you have if you do try extra questions. So pause if you did not finish as many questions as possible, and then go ahead and push play and then check the answer key. Good luck. All right, so here is the answer key. So go ahead and check your answers for 1 through 8 for page 1, or page 2, I'm sorry, which some of these answers we already did together. I'm going to move it down. Go ahead and check your answers for the bottom part of page 2. All right, I'm going to head to the last and final page 3 so you can check your answers there. All right, here are the answers for page 3. Go ahead and check your answers, fix any mistakes, which if you're just writing down these answers and you did not attempt them, I will notice because I will see that you don't have any work to show. So don't just write down the answers, actually check them if you tried them. If you didn't try them, pause now, go back and try some more. All right, here's the bottom of that page. All right, hope you did well. We're going to continue to keep practicing things like this week. And when we return from Thanksgiving break, we will have a test. Have a great day. Bye.